Are you breathing correctly? Let's find out. For women over 50 who are getting happy and growing younger. Thank you so much for subscribing, if you have, and if you haven't, well, you can always subscribe today. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but if you hit that little circular portrait of me at the end of the video, if you just hit that, you can subscribe by doing that. Just a thought. Okay, so yes, you're thinking, Christine, I'm a woman over 50. I've been breathing all my life. I'm sure by now I know how to do it, but the thing is, and I know nasal breathing isn't a very sexy subject to be talking about, but yes it is. Oh yes it is. You know I'm a fan of breathing. I'm a fan of breathing for all kinds of reasons. And the more I study, the more of a fan I am. So the thing is, our modern lifestyles, quite seriously, have led us to develop poor breathing habits. So, you know, bad diet, lack of exercise, air pollution, all of those things, stress, has led us to developing these poor breathing habits. Now, I'm not just talking about here using, you know, breathing in, breathing out until you die kind of breathing. I'm talking about the power of your breath and using your breath to optimize your health. That's what I'm talking about, and this is going to be a series because it's a huge subject, and I want to cover all aspects of it, that things that you can do. Obviously easy things, because yes, you have managed to stay alive by breathing so far, but now we're going to optimize that breath for you, and there's lots of different ways to do it depending on what you want to achieve. So what we're talking about then, we're not just talking here about the quality of the air that you breathe. We all know about that and the importance of that, but we also want to talk about the quantity of so how much you actually breathe. Now, the problem we have is most people, and this is where, when I say, are you breathing correctly, most people mouth breathe. You know, if you probably don't go to work on the tram or a train at the moment, you might do, but anywhere where there are people, you'll see people sit like this. Can you see? They're not necessarily breathing, sitting like that, but they are sitting with their mouth slightly open, breathing through their mouth. Now, the problem is when you breathe through your mouth, you overbreathe. Yes, this is a problem that we have, would you believe, is that we overbreathe, and you have a tendency to do that, especially if you breathe through your mouth. Now, when someone overbreathes, it means that they don't get the oxygen they need in order to optimize their well-being. They don't. Overbreathing means that they breathe out too often and flush out too much of the carbon dioxide that we need to release the right amount of oxygen to our cells. So when you breathe in oxygen. When you breathe out, you breathe out carbon dioxide. There's a tendency for people to think that carbon dioxide is the waste that we don't need. That's not true. We need carbon dioxide to unlock the oxygen and to allow that to go around your body to the places where your body needs it. So flushing out too much carbon dioxide is a problem, and that's what happens with mouth breathers. So why do people mouth breathe anyway? Well, you know, it can become a habit. For example, if you've had a cold for any length of time, or people who have an issue with their nose and have a seemingly permanently blocked nose, they then get into this habit of breathing through their mouths. People who suffer from anxiety a lot tend to breathe through their mouth, and they breathe more rapidly too. But also just bad habits. It's just a bad habit of sitting with your mouth slightly open. Now, to breathe correctly, you need to be breathing through your nose. Your nose is where you ought to be doing most of your breathing. Now, and I'm going to say that to you, but I do appreciate that if you've been a mouth breather for as long as you can remember, then it's difficult to suddenly change and start breathing through your nose. But we're going to help with that. You may not even know whether you are a mouth breather or not. And this is why the exercise I'm going to ask you to do at the end of today's session is going to help you find out, am I constantly breathing through my mouth? And of course, now you're aware of it and you can check in with yourself and do a bit of consciously looking at how you're breathing. That will alert you to the fact that you are a person who breathes through her mouth. Now, some of the things that could possibly alert you to this, or some of the disadvantages of breathing through your mouth, include bad breath, gum disease and dental problems, nasal and throat infections. Increased blood pressure can be caused through breathing through your mouth. Definitely increased risk of snoring and sleep apnea. In children, believe it or not, children who develop this habit, it can lead to all of those things but crooked teeth, and it can also cause facial deformities. So it's even more important, obviously, that we look to our children and see how they're breathing and correct that. But for us women over 50, however we breathe or however you breathe, you've spent a lifetime developing that way of breathing. And so, yes, it might take a little bit of effort on your part to start to breathe through your nose. What are the advantages of breathing through your nose? Well, first of all of those things I've just said that are a disadvantage of mouth breathing, you will not suffer from those things. But breathing in through your nose acts as a filter to keep out germs and all the small particles that are in the air, for example, such as pollen. We know that breathing in through your nose relaxes you. How many times whenever I do a breathing exercise to help someone who's tense or anxious, it's breathe in through the nose. It's breathing in through the nose. We know that relaxes you. It also adds moisture to the air when you take it in before it gets to the lungs, and therefore helps to prevent dryness in the lungs, which eventually would cause respiratory problems. It also warms up the cold air that comes in through the nose before it gets to the lungs, which has the same kind of benefit. It increases your oxygen intake and balances the amount of carbon dioxide which leaves when you breathe out. Breathing in through your nose produces nitric oxide, which helps the oxygen circulate through your body and get it to where it's meant to be. Nitric oxide is antifungal, antiviral, which helps with your body's immune system. It's like a power thing, an added on thing that you're taking in when you breathe in through your nose. Now, breathing in through your nose, even during exertion, because you might say, well, the only time I find myself breathing through my mouth is, say, if you go jogging or if you're a runner, when in fact, studies have proven that even athletes, those athletes who started to breathe in through their nose and out through their nose whilst going through, heavy exercise, increases their performance level. It increases their performance level. So the first thing I want to say to you today, I know it's only a short subject, a short video, but this is the first thing I want us to get into place, is nose breathing. Are you a nose breather? Now, this thing about sleep apnea, which Mr. Kitchen used to suffer from, if you don't know what it is, it's this. So there you are, just dozing off to sleep. And you sense that, in this case, I sense that Mr. Kitchen has stopped breathing. Is he dead? What's happening? And so I lie there for a while in the silence, thinking maybe I just can't hear him breathing. And then all of a sudden he would go, start breathing and frighten the living daylights out of me. So we got to work on that. And he also snored. We got to work on that. And I'm going to show you a way of doing that, a way of helping. Now, obviously, this is breathing we're talking about. It is vital to your life. It's your energy source. So don't do anything at all that I tell you to do without speaking to your doctor or doing your own research first. This is what we did. This is what I'm doing, is what I'm saying. So I'm just going to show you what we tried with Mr. Kitchen. Can you see that? It's just a little piece of tape. He tried to cover his mouth because he was breathing through his mouth, and this was meant to help him to breathe through his nose. You know, you can get sleep tape, but he couldn't cover his mouth. That didn't make him feel comfortable at all. So he just started to use this, just that little amount of tape, and really all that served to do was to remind him to keep his mouth closed. And, you know, within weeks, definitely, it improved his situation, and it certainly improved his snoring. So this is something that you can try to do. Now, in terms of the exercise I want you to do, every day if you can, and, you know, if you can only remember to do this just before you go to sleep when you're laying down at night, then fair enough. And just spend 10 minutes breathing through your nose and not your mouth. Now, an exercise to do this, which comes from Patrick McKeown, I'm going to list at the end of this series a series of books that I've read on them. One of them, on breathing, one of them is Patrick McKeown's. But he talks about the magic spot. So you put your tongue, you know, if you put your tongue at the back of your teeth and just bring it back a little bit, you feel a little pad of flesh on the roof of your mouth at the back of your teeth. So, like that. Put your tongue there. You've got to breathe through your nose. Else it's very difficult to breathe through your nose. And your tongue's there, so okay. And breathe through your nose and also into your belly so that you can strengthen your diaphragm. We know that about belly breathing. So you're going to breathe through with your tongue there at the back of your teeth and slow your breathing down, because we also breathe too quickly, and I'm going to talk about that next time. So for today, I hope I've convinced you that we need to stop mouth breathing and start nose breathing. That's a little exercise to help you do it. It will relax you before you go to sleep anyway. If you feel you need sleep tape or anything like that, have a chat with your doc or someone, take advice on that. But as I say, this little tape like that worked better for Mr. Kitchen rather than something that would cover his whole mouth at night time. But, you know, now he's very conscious during the daytime of breathing through his nose. This is what's developed a new habit in him. And I suggested if you put just a little bit of effort in, it will help you too. Okay, let me know how you get on with that. I'd be interested to know, but I'm telling you, breathing is about much more than keeping you alive. It's about keeping you optimally healthy, and it can also help you to lose weight. We're going to talk about it in future videos. Okay, I hope you're well and safe, and I'll see you next time. And until then, remember that on the Happy Stuff and Fluff, we are getting healthy, we are getting happy and growing younger. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.